Kaya, I believe you have Kharinel with you.
Between her and one of the suspects. Now, does this form part of the brief that you were given, advocates?
Zianda, you also know that the prosecutor made a passionate plea about the document that came into the possession of the media. I've indicated yesterday that I will not divulge all the information that was relayed to me, but what I can say is that I'm exactly in the same position with the same understanding about this case as I was yesterday. I am concerned with the indictment that was read into the record today, and it just makes it so much more important for us to remain involved, to ensure that this apparent misunderstanding that it cannot derail the case or prejudice the case. So there's clearly some kind of misunderstanding between the two parties. I hope not. I've only been exposed to what you've been exposed to. I've had a briefing with the police. I did not have a briefing with the prosecution, not at all.
But you can understand, sorry to jump in the advocates, that this also creates a lot of confusion, between the AfriForum prosecutions team, the NPA, and what's been said out there in the public domain. What are you going to do next, other than staying on? What exactly do you mean when you say that?
We'll have to communicate with people. The first stop would be to communicate with the police. I mean, the police have shared the information with us, so we'll have to go back there. We have to really establish what they've said to us and take it further, because we cannot allow Zianda. I mean, this is bigger than AfriForum. This is bigger than NPA AfriForum. This is a matter. This is justice. We will do what we can to ensure that justice is done in whichever way, but we have to cross this hurdle, and the hurdle is, what are we dealing with? Are we dealing with a hit? And if we're dealing with a hit, the question should be, do we have enough evidence to deal with the mastermind, not the refusal to accept that we're dealing with a hit.
So by the time you come back to court, this matter returns to court on the 27th of November. There will be answers, surely?
Well, what we'll be able to do is to tell you what we've done to ensure that there'll be answers. For us now, I think it's so important to sit down with our clients, to explain to our clients what's going on, because you're concerned, I'm concerned. Just think of a grieving family, how this will now concern a grieving family. You've all seen the mother yesterday. So is this now more confusion? Is this now more trauma? So that is my first call, is to ensure that the family and my clients understand exactly what was going on. But this is bigger than all of us. I'm sure we can fix this. I'm sure that by the time that this matter is ready for trial, that there'll be an understanding between all the parties.
Last one from me, advocates, and I'm asking this because just yesterday I questioned you about possible two factions within the police service that are operating, and this came from the Meyiwa family. They're saying there are two investigating teams, that's why the case didn't move. And you said to me during your press conference that you don't want to address that. Perhaps then is the time to address that, seeing that there's misunderstanding or miscommunication between you and the brief that you got from police?
I'm still not going to address that particular aspect. But what I want to say is we're not dealing with that anymore. We're not dealing with the internal misunderstanding in the police.
But it could have impacted on the reason why the brief was different, advocates. Can we at least acknowledge that?
Well, I can't acknowledge it because I don't know. And Zayanda, I'm not doing anything that would prejudice this case further. We cannot do that. I think we should all now work together to make sure that justice is done. We've waited 6 years for this. We cannot allow this to continue any further.
All right, advocates, I'm just going to steal you quickly. Just take us through to the game plan now. Obviously, lots of confusion inside the court precinct.
Yes, indeed. I'm concerned, and I think you're concerned. Everybody's concerned. Everybody that stormed me now must be concerned about the apparent misunderstanding between the South African Police Service and the National Prosecuting Authority. The Police Service briefing us that this was a hit. The Prosecuting Authority drafting papers indicating that this might have been a robbery. But, it's early days. The police also indicated yesterday that there's further investigation. Now, further investigation of what? If it's only a robbery, then perhaps not. So we have to read something into what the Minister said and what the Commissioner said. If there's further investigation, it must be something else but the robbery. So I do think that this should be corrected, before this matter goes to trial. And I'm convinced if people, right-minded people, sit around and we discuss just the facts of this matter, and we forget about all the other peripheral issues, because it's so important. This matter, it's been outstanding for 6 years. We have to get it to court as soon as we can.
Certainly, advocates, but of course, a very unprecedented move where the suspects were not keen to go to the dock.
You know, I've been a prosecutor for a long while. I've seen lots of things by accused people. I'm not surprised anymore. This didn't surprise me at all. It has no bearing on the case. I've seen lots of things in my years, so no, it has no bearing on the case. It wasn't even out of the ordinary for me. So no, nothing at all.
Yeah, and do you have all your ducks in a row? Because you say you have a watertight case.
Well, I'm not saying I've got a watertight case. What I'm saying is, and I'm repeating it, we received a brief from the police. And as far as the brief is concerned, acting on the brief, I haven't read the docket, I haven't had anything else. As far as the brief is concerned, I thought that Commissioner Sitora was correct and that this is a very strong case.
And come the 27th of November, what's going to happen?
Well, 27th of November, I hope the matter will be ready to be transferred from here to the High Court for trial. So this is a process that happens on all the matters. So there's a first postponement, and when we get here again, there will be a court date, and the matter will be transferred to a court date sometime next year in wherever it will be heard.
All right, Advocate, thank you so much indeed. So that's, of course, Advocate Clarinel from the Afro Forum. He's very optimistic, you know, albeit after a very tough day. So tell us where we are positioned. You can see security has been heightened. And, of course, I mean, from their side, the law enforcement agencies, they remain very confident. In light of the pandemonium that you saw in court, where the suspects were not keen to go to the dock, and many other just, situation that has been highly confusing.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. That's ENCA's Khayelihle Khumalo. So just to catch you up, that case of those 5 suspects now set to take place on the 27th of November. This after they made a brief appearance, refusing to enter the dock and refusing to be represented by legal aid, refusing to apply for bail, saying that they are innocent and they are being turned into scapegoats in this particular case.